Didn't know you were going to get all this history on our very first podcast.
Welcome to God at Work, stories of calling, courage, and conviction. Through real stories and meaningful conversations, we'll discover how God shows up in the boardroom, the job site, and beyond. Here's your hosts, Gina Ventola and Adam Kemper. Morning, welcome to God at Work. You know, when you get to work with somebody that you know well and you've been friends with for years, sometimes you stay on topic and we talk about God. And sometimes we just go down different roads and get to talk about all kinds of interesting things together. Here's some of that for you to see, so you can see a little bit behind the scenes of how Gina and I talk about the world. A college advisor in history was a Catholic nun who was a specialist in Henry VIII and Henrician England. So my senior thesis was about the formation of the Church of England and getting to read the papers of Archbishop Cranmer and Henry and all of the back and forth and the schism between them and the Catholic Church and the Pope and all of the earthly reasons around that were super selfish and very odd point in history. So things like that, where the moment was so unique that it's just, you don't have to dramatize it. The people were so crazy in the moment, it was dramatic on its own. Those are the kind of moments in history I love.
So think about that for a moment. Could you imagine Thomas Cromwell, who I believe at that point was his Lord Chancellor, coming to Henry VIII and saying, "Okay, Henry, I got it all figured out. I know you want to get rid of Catherine of Aragon. She's not giving you any sons. You've got this young chippy over here, Anne Boleyn, and who's going to give you sons. And the Pope won't give you a dispensation to divorce Catherine. So what if we made our own church with you, wait for it, with you in charge of it? And then you get to annul your own marriage and marry Anne Boleyn. What do you say?" And I'm sure Henry sat there for a moment and said, "So you're saying I get to be in charge? I get to be the head of it? Let's do it." That's totally every time. I can guarantee you that's how the conversation went.
But we really get it to enjoy also learning about how God's working in our guests' lives. Here's some responses we've got to one of our favorite questions about how God is working in the lives of our guests.
We carry God with us everywhere we go.
I think it's always important to remember that God is with you everywhere, and God should be your focus, whatever you're doing, and including at work. And that's probably the place where it's easiest to forget.
I mean, it's all encompassing. You can't just put God in a box and go to work.
Well, for me, it's a lot more about how you carry yourself and the example you set when you walk through the world and how you bring God with you into the conversations that you are in. I'm a big believer in how we act defines who we are, and I think God at work is how we treat each other in godly ways. And I think we're in a time that's needed for that.
I think for me, it's my work is my ministry. My ministry is my work. I feel like for me, all that I do, being a mom, all the different roles and responsibilities I've ever held or currently hold, it's all integrated with God.
My God, he freely gives and he freely takes.
Probably the biggest thing it means is just to have God involved in the aspects of what you do as a professional.
I like to think of he is my decision maker. And I know that sounds controversial.
And I think the thing that you realize as you get closer to God is you're not in control of the things you think you are.
Starting the day with morning prayer.
I started to consider like, gosh, like I hope I don't have to try hard, right? Like I want God to be everything.
As Adam said, we have known each other for a while, and sometimes our conversations get derailed. As far as maybe getting a little off topic, here's a great example of that. Enjoy. talk about leadership, godly leadership, which I don't think technically he's a very good example of. But it's interesting how he used the passage. They're in pretty much all four Gospels, but one I'm thinking of is in the book of Mark, where John the Baptist was coming after Herod because Herod had married his dead brother's wife. And Henry VIII used that to both annul his marriage with Catherine, because she had previously been married to Arthur, his older brother, who died. But then he also used it to get rid of Anne Boleyn. One of the reasons to get rid of Anne Boleyn, because he had been involved with her sister. So, didn't know you were going to get all this history on our very first podcast.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure you'll
again,
find a lot of it sprinkled in throughout the whole thing. We're both big
oh,
history buffs.
at the God at Work podcast, we get to meet with the greatest business owners. They're truly amazing. If you would like to share your story, whether it's how God has helped you through a difficult time in your business or how God has blessed you, reach out to us at info@godatworkpodcast.org. Until then, talk to you soon. This is God at Work, reminding you to lead with faith, serve with purpose, and live out your calling. Until we meet again, keep walking boldly in your faith at work and beyond, and remember, your business is your ministry.